Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, also subscribe to my channel. Mao Zedong's reign and killing, so make sure to watch the full video. Introduction. Mao Zedong, also known as Chairman Mao, was one of the most influential and controversial leaders in the history of China. As the founder and chairman of the Communist Party of China, Mao played a significant role in shaping the country's political, economic, and social landscape. However, his reign was marked by a series of policies and campaigns that led to widespread suffering, including the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. In this blog, we will delve into Mao Zedong's reign and the impact of his policies, focusing on the violence and killings that occurred during his rule. Mao Zedong came to power in 1949, following the victory of the Communist Party in the Chinese Civil War. He envisioned a new socialist China and sought to transform the country's political and economic structures. One of his first major initiatives was the implementation of land reforms, aimed at redistributing land from wealthy landlords to peasants. While this policy was initially successful in gaining support from the rural population, it set the stage for more radical and far-reaching changes. In 1958, Mao launched the Great Leap Forward, an ambitious economic and social campaign aimed at rapidly transforming China into an industrialized nation. The campaign involved the collectivization of agriculture, the establishment of communes, and the promotion of backyard steel production. However, the Great Leap Forward resulted in disastrous consequences. Due to poor planning, inadequate infrastructure, and a focus on quantity over quality, agricultural production declined, leading to widespread famine. It is estimated that tens of millions of people died during this period, making it one of the deadliest famines in history. Following the failure of the Great Leap Forward, Mao's leadership faced criticism and internal struggles within the Communist Party. In an attempt to regain control and purge his political rivals, Mao launched the Cultural Revolution in 1966. The Cultural Revolution aimed to eliminate capitalist and traditional influences from Chinese society and reassert Mao's ideology. It unleashed a wave of violence and persecution, as Red Guard units targeted intellectuals, officials, and anyone perceived as a threat to the communist regime. Countless individuals were subjected to humiliation, imprisonment, torture, and even execution during this period of political chaos. The violence and killings that occurred during Mao's reign were not limited to the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. The purges, political campaigns, and ideological struggles resulted in a climate of fear and suspicion, where dissent was harshly suppressed. Mao's leadership style emphasized loyalty to the party and unquestioning support for his policies, often at the expense of individual freedoms and human rights. Despite the human cost and the failures of some of Mao's policies, he remains a revered figure in Chinese history, particularly among certain segments of the population. His role in leading the Chinese Communist Party to victory and his contributions to the establishment of the People's Republic of China is widely acknowledged. However, the impact of his reign, including the violence and killings, cannot be ignored or justified. Early life and education. Mao Zedong was born on December 26, 1893, in the village of Shaoshan, Hunan Province, China. He came from a relatively humble background, as his father was a farmer and a landowner. Mao received a traditional Chinese education during his early years, studying Confucian classics and Chinese literature. However, he also displayed a rebellious streak and was deeply influenced by the social and political conditions of late 19th century China. During his teenage years, Mao developed an interest in Marxism and radical politics. He became a member of the New People's Study Society, where he encountered Marxist literature and began to question traditional Chinese society's injustices. Mao's exposure to these new ideas, coupled with the prevailing anti-imperialist sentiment of the time, planted the seeds of his revolutionary ambitions. Formation of ideology. In 1918, Mao Zedong traveled to Beijing to attend Peking University, where he furthered his intellectual and political development. It was during this time that he became increasingly critical of China's social and political structure, including the corrupt ruling class and the influence of foreign powers. Inspired by the Russian Revolution and the success of the Bolsheviks, Mao embraced Marxist-Leninist ideology and began to advocate for a proletarian revolution in China. The May 4th movement in 1919 had a profound impact on Mao's political views. The movement, which was a response to China's perceived weakness and subjugation by foreign powers, called for modernization, nationalism, and social change. Mao became an active participant in the movement, advocating for the liberation of China from imperialist forces and the establishment of a new social order. Chairman Mao and the Great Leap Forward. As chairman of the Communist Party, Mao embarked on a series of radical social and economic reforms. The Great Leap Forward, launched in 1958, aimed to rapidly transform China from an agrarian society to an industrialized nation. However, the campaign's unrealistic goals and misguided policies led to widespread famine and economic disaster, resulting in the deaths of millions of people. Cultural Revolution and Mao's cult of personality. In 1966, Mao initiated the Cultural Revolution, a campaign aimed at purging perceived capitalist and bourgeois influences from Chinese society. The movement resulted in political purges, widespread violence, and the disruption of education and cultural institutions. Mao's cult of personality reached its peak during this period, with his image and teachings becoming omnipresent in Chinese society. Rise to power. In the early 1920s, Mao Zedong joined the newly formed Chinese Communist Party, CCP, and became one of its key leaders. He played a significant role in organizing labor movements and peasant uprisings, advocating for the redistribution of land and the empowerment of the working class. Mao's rise to prominence within the CCP was marked by his revolutionary zeal, strategic thinking, and charismatic leadership. During the Chinese Civil War, 1927 to 1949, Mao led the Red Army in a protracted guerrilla warfare campaign against the Kuomintang KMT nationalist government. His military strategies, such as the famous Long March, allowed the communists to survive and regroup. Mao's popularity grew among the peasants, who saw him as a champion of their rights and a symbol of hope for a better future. The ultimate triumph of the Chinese Communist Revolution in 1949 marked Mao Zedong's ascent to power. He became the chairman of the Communist Party of China and the de facto leader of the newly established People's Republic of China. Mao embarked on a series of radical social and economic reforms, including the collectivization of agriculture, industrialization efforts, and the launch of political campaigns aimed at restructuring Chinese society. Legacy and controversy. Mao Zedong's leadership had a profound impact on China, but his policies and campaigns also caused immense suffering and loss of life. Despite his efforts to establish an egalitarian society, Mao's reign was marred by human rights abuses, economic mismanagement, and the suppression of dissent. In recent years, there has been ongoing debate and discussion about Mao's legacy, with some regarding him as a visionary leader who helped unite China and improve the lives of its citizens, while others view him as a ruthless dictator responsible for immense human suffering. Conclusion: Mao Zedong's early life experiences, ideological development, and rise to power laid the foundation for his transformative leadership in China. His commitment to Marxism-Leninism, his ability to mobilize the masses, and his strategic acumen enabled him to overcome formidable challenges and shape the course of Chinese history. However, as we will explore in subsequent blogs, the policies and campaigns implemented during Mao's reign also brought about significant social and economic upheaval, leaving a complex and controversial legacy. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go.